Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure again to say you hello and to welcome you again on our ESE Live studio. And I am rushing to present you the guest of the studio, Professor Gianluca Gambarini. Hello, Gianluca.
Hi, Laura, and hi, everyone.
And I would like also to remind you that we always have a very nice help and support from Monica Freira, who is the ESE COO, and she will be watching your comments. So you are very welcome to ask the questions and to comment in the comment section on any preferred platform that we are streaming through, and we will be very happy to discuss and to answer your questions at the end of the talk. So thank you very much, Monica, for your work.
Hello, everyone.
And
Hello.
and I will switch you off to do your work silently. So Gianluca, thanks again for coming into our studio and joining us here with your enormous support for ESC and of course for every single event and all our projects, what we are doing. I would like to introduce you first. I think that lots of people know you very well, but anyway, it's just a small reminder. So you are a full professor and the head of endodontics, director of Masters of Endodontics at the University of La Sapienza in Rome. You are a lecturer and researcher, an author of more than 500 scientific articles, chapters in the books and the books. You did more than 500 presentations all over the world in the main endo meetings and probably in the main dental meetings. You are actively cooperating with the manufacturers, different manufacturers, and you are actively involved in development of the new technologies, materials, and techniques. Currently, you are president-elect of the ESE Society, so you are becoming the president in 2026.
Six.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, and you are practicing as well as endodontist in your practice in Rome, which is limited in endo. And what I would like to add from your private life, which is very also important, you are a father of 3 daughters, correct?
Yes.
You are a fan of sailing, so you enjoy boating with your
Boating.
boat in the Mediterranean Sea. Yeah, boating, yes. And you are very passionate in art and architecture, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Correct?
And as Italian is food.
And Italian food and wine, probably, yes.
Probably yes.
Yes. So, Gianluca, let's start our conversation. And probably last week I have hosted Gianluca Plotino, and I have had 2 questions that I want you also to repeat and to answer those questions. So, at the moment, we count probably more than 30 years of rotary files era. Engine-driven night-eye rotary files had changed endodontic practice significantly. You had been carefully observing this evolution and actively involved in testing, but also developing these technologies for all those 30 years, probably from the beginning till these days. Can you make a short overview from the real expert's position? What has changed during these years?
Well, honestly, it has changed a lot. I'm just saying something which is the major fear for the night rotary files was unexpected sudden breakage of the file. So for more than 10, 15 years, the lecturer and the researchers always speaking about this behavior of the files that we were not able to understand. And just to say something, at the moment we are now starting to understand it more properly, and this is very helpful in improving the quality and safety of our treatment. And as a matter of fact, the people who will read our guidelines will find it out that over 30 years and over the research that has been done in 30 years, clinical and experimental, night eye is now becoming established as the main and the most relevant way to do instrumentation in endodontics. So this is a huge, difference from 30 years ago.
Yeah, correct. Now, hundreds of different rotary systems are manufactured globally. I think we can count more than 300, and probably new are coming.
More will come.
More will come. So every manufacturer, of course, advocates that his or their company system is the best, the most effective, the most efficient, and the most safe. Practitioners recently had a great challenge to choose in between of these hundreds of different systems. Could you point out the main criteria for the night eye instruments that are very essential to know for the clinician to understand and to rely on while choosing the effective and really safe rotary system? What are the main criteria? Not to be, super naive and to believe everything that manufacturer or the seller or the representative of the company is telling.
Well, to be very honest, I think that when manufacturers say something, they say the truth, meaning that if they could make a better file, they would have made. So they are giving you the best they can do. So this is what usually they do. But on the other hand, it's like if you ask the mother, how is the baby? And she will always tell, the baby is my love. It's very nice. So being a researcher and being a clinician, it's slightly different because you have to see things from different perspectives. One which is objective and the other which is subjective. And this I will try to explain also in my lecture, because there are some objective criteria about the properties of the night eye that we can very easily define. So the instrument must be flexible enough to go inside the curvature. The instrument must be resistant to go inside the curvature and not break in the curvature. But on the other hand, then there's a lot of subjective things that the number of instruments, the type of preparation, more or less invasive, how fast you want to go. And these are all the costs you want to spend, the number of instruments you want to use. And this is, this more subjective. And I will also try to give, the clinician attending to the meeting some hints about making this subjective criteria a little bit more objective in order to make a more rational choice.
Of course. So now we are coming to the topic of your lecture, and the topic of your lecture in Krakow will be clinical advantages of the heat-treated nickel titanium instruments. So my question is, heat-treated night eye instruments, we can see gold, blue, pink, and rainbow actually, yes, at this time.
Yes.
Those are
there's also one is
Sorry?
If I want to add something, there's also chameleon. There's also one chameleon, which is nice.
Yeah. So
changes the
all
color.
colors are available. Yeah. All colors are available.
Yes,
Even green one, crocodiles and so on. Yes. But those are all different heat treatments. Yes. Because the color depends from the different heat treatment. Do the
yes
differences
and no.
among yes and no. So you can reveal these secrets. Why some instruments are pink, some are blue, some are green, some are red, and some are gold.
Okay. It's not easy to generalize, meaning there are obviously some differences. What is very, very important to know, what the dentist should know, that every manufacturer has its own heat treatment, which is different. So no matter about the color. So the heat treatment is very different, and the very different heat treatment affects the mechanical properties of the file and affects many other things. The color itself, it's something that you can play a little bit. You can have a color and then you can change the color for marketing. It's like fashion a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, but I would say that the color does not really represent the heat treatment itself. The heat treatment is more something that happens inside the structure of the night eye instrument, and the color is just the dress, the outside dress that you can change more easily without really
Okay.
affecting the properties.
Okay, so the next part of this question is, do the differences among the heat treatments have any clinical impact, or they are all performing the same?
So this is actually the correct question. It's not about the color, it's about the heat treatment. So speaking about the treatment, yes, this is very, very significant. We also publish many studies about this, showing that with different manufacturers, and we were able to collect files in their traditional super elastic night eye and made by this manufacturer, and then compare with the heat treatment on the same files done by the manufacturer, and we saw that amongst manufacturers there's a quite big difference. So let's say that one heat treatment, for example, can improve flexibility one time, the other two times, the other three times, and uh, and this is actually, if you read the dental literature, if you read sometimes articles that speak about this, you may find also this data, and definitely there are some differences, and these differences are related both to flexibility and resistance to fracture, but also to cutting efficiency. So these are very relevant properties that may affect the performance and the safety of the instrument that you're using. Having said this, I just add another thing, is that because of this, in my humble opinion, the night eye heat treatment has now become the most important feature in determining the performance of a night eye rotary file or reciprocating file.
So, do those instruments require any specific handling? Can you give any practical recommendations? I mean,
Oh, this is, I mean, probably we need a couple of hours minimum, and also a lot of time, because we speak about night eye instruments, night eye rotary instruments, and sometimes we think the difference between night eye rotary, night eye reciprocating, but the huge difference at the moment is between non-heat treated and heat treated. There are two totally different night eye rotary files, and since they're so different, I would say that there are two different families. Like night eye was different from stainless steel. So these two different families, these two different kinds of heat treated and non-heat treated night eye rotary files obviously have different properties, and obviously you have to use them in a different way. And in a few words, I would say that generally speaking, the heat treated files are have better performance, but you have to treat them a little bit with a little bit more skill and more delicacy, and
mm,
which makes this very interesting. But I totally agree with you. And to answer to your question, is that it is really important to understand how to use heat-treated night rotary files. The very
yes.
interesting thing is that if you read a book, and if you read all the literature in the past, you they will explain you how to use the traditional night eye, and there is and the literature and the courses about heat treated night eye are starting since a few years, and still there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to teach, and this is maybe in Krakow could be a very, very good opportunity to for any practitioner, skilled or less skilled, to know more about the
Mhm.
possibility and the advantage that you have using these instruments.
Yeah, correct. So the latest advancements,
you.
like a heat treatment, like these new designs, new metallurgy, they ensure us with better preparations, faster preparations. The instruments are more flexible, less risk to fracture, and so on and so on. Are we still far from the ideal instrument?
Well, when I teach night eye, sometimes I make comparison about a night eye instrument and a person, and I consider I do many examples in order to explain how they work by comparing them to person. So uh, does a perfect person exist in the world? It's a very difficult question to answer. Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe someone finds the ideal person, but I mean, sometimes does not. Or even if you find the right person, it's not ideal, the right person for everyone. So this is
Yes.
in this way, the problem, and this is, I think, the bad news about endo and the very good news about endo is that anatomy is so different. So it's so difficult to make a file that works ideally or performs at the best in all the clinical situation. So
Yeah.
what still is very important is the clinical skill and knowledge of the clinician. Because if the clinician understands the properties, understand how to use it, it will use it in a proper way according to the different clinical situation. So as a matter of fact, if you ask me, there are some very good files, I would say yes, there is a file ideal for all the clinical situation. At the
Mm.
moment, no, and I'm very doubtful
Mm.
that we will have also in the next future.
Yeah. And this is also a question probably. Do we still can expect something very significant in terms of file, or the files are already so very well designed and very well manufactured that probably this is the top of what we can expect, and now probably we have to think about
No.
different techniques and like getting rid of these super files. What I'm
Okay,
asking about
but
the
these are two
non-instrumentation
questions.
technique
Two
or
question. Two question in one. So non-instrumentation technique is a possibility, but it's at the moment is not ready. It's not even ready, and even if the first tentative devices are still requiring a certain amount of root canal instrumentation. So it's more a combination between this kind of devices and instrumentation, mechanical instrumentation. In terms of perfection, I think I see huge possibility of improving. But
still of files,
this
you
is
mean?
yes, because we still don't know a lot of things. We still do not know how the stress are placed on the files. For example, we know about, generally speaking, the stress, but every canal is different from the other. So we are not able to understand the stress in each clinical situation. If in the future we will be able to understand this, then we can make a much better file, or we can choose the the best file among the ones we have to do the job. So, as a matter of fact, it's a possibility, especially using, for example, AI, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence gets an understanding of the canals and then tells you in this canal you should use A, in this you should use B, C, like this. So this
Mhm.
opens the pathway to a huge improvement. So still, those people who love endo will have a lot of to do in the future to improve this instrument.
We'll wait. Okay. Tell us, please, share with us your opinion about the single-use file.
The single use. So using the file only one use. Okay,
Yes.
because sometimes there's a confusion between single file technique and single use. Yes, okay. So single use, once again, it depends how much we understand the stress and how much stress we create. Theoretically, is like anything in the world, also your body. If you overstress your body, you create a lot of damage. If you do not overstress, you can go on a life longer. So same is the file. So sometimes the single use was proposed not because, not based on science, but based on the fact that one use is less stressful than two use, and two use are less stressful than three use. As a matter of fact, some
and probably
people use
cross-contamination.
Some people in other parts cross-contamination, you usually should sterilize your files very, very good.
Of course.
And I think the autoclave nowadays is... I hope that we don't have this problem of cross-contamination. What's happening now is that many manufacturers sells their files sterile, which is good because you can open it, and even if you need more files at the last moment, you can grab them and they are sterile. So this is good. But single use, it's a very interesting topic and question that, in my opinion, has not really been really studied very, very properly. I just make you an example. For example, when you have a molar with 4 canals, and you do, which do you do MB2 at the beginning or at the end? So if you do at the beginning, you have a new file with maximum properties, which is good for the MB2, but then it will be stressed and it will not be good for MB1 or for the distal. And if you do vice versa, you go in the MB2, which is the most difficult, with a file that is already a little bit stressed. So what I want to tell you is that the file is stressed even after a single use in one canal. So the limit of single use, one tooth in one patient is it's helpful in a certain way, but it's not really based on a precise analysis. It's more a subjective thing. But this is my opinion. There's no real data that confirm this.
Okay, Gianluca. So you, of course, you are hiding a little bit things. I think you are not very open in this interview because you still have to keep some information for the Krakow meeting. But please highlight the main points that you are going to discuss and what we can expect from your presentation there.
Yeah. Well, you are telling me that I'm a sort of mafia guy at the moment.
No, not that
one.
I just complimented you that you are very smart.
Okay. But anyway, no. Okay. If I have to make it very short, answer to what you're asking is that, okay, I will try to explain the real benefits of the instruments. And so the dentists, if they know the real benefits, they will understand a lot of things. And this is very important, I think. And the other thing, I will give you some clinical explanation on how to use, because most of the manufacturers, when they give the instruction of use, the -U, make it very simple. For example, they do a packing. What does it mean? There could be thousands of ways to do a packing motion. So I will try to give more clinical hints based on scientific evidence on which is probably the best way to use a nitride instrument which is heat treated.
Okay, nice. So what I want just to say that probably the wife is calling you for a dinner already, yes? And
Sort of.
so it's time, sort of that, yes. So thanks a lot for this interview, actually, Gianluca. And of course, it will be very interesting to listen to you, because what we are doing, we are trying to perform very well in our daily practice, and to do the best job we can do for our patients, to provide the best care of our patients. And of course, all practical tips and hints are very, very important. So your lecture will be from the clinical practical aspect, and at the same time, when Gianluca Plotino and Anna Arias will talk about instrumentation from scientific point of view. So and I think Sebastian Bürklein as well will join you for
Well, I think
some more clinical tips.
yes. No,
So this will be the session dedicated
yes.
only
If I
for the
may say something, is
instrumentation.
that yes.
Yes.
So I think that at the end, the dentists that will attend the Krakow meeting, and once again I invite all of them, even students, professor, and whatsoever, because we are addressing one topic from different point of views, and this is quite unique. Because sometimes when you hear one lecture, the lecture is more focused on the clinical, and the other is a little bit too scientific. But in this case, we will have a sort of big sync, and in a certain way, I think this could be a very unique experience for the people who will attend it, and also for us, because we will, face between very, very high professional colleagues from both scientific and clinical part, and we can only learn from sharing, our opinions and our work.
Absolutely,
So
yes. So
hope that everyone will join this in Krakow. Yes.
yes, of course. And I want to say as
Please,
well,
Laura.
for those who think that English languages can be a big obstacle for them. So I would like to say that we will have the artificial intelligence translation that will be that will make possible translate English language into 30 languages, something like that. So almost all the languages, main languages, can be covered. So you are very welcome, and I'm really, really glad that some students are coming. So it's very nice to see those young colleagues. So they are really on the right track, and we are very happy to host everyone: clinicians, scientists, students, postgraduates, and the general practitioners, and of course specialists all over the world. So thank you very much. And now I'm
Our
switching.
our mission.
Yes, I am switching on the Monica.
Oh no, I would
Monica,
say, oh, so hi to anyone, but it's Monica still coming. Yes,
yes, yes.
but I don't see her.
Yeah, yeah, Monica, you are. We can see you.
Laura, I know that
Yeah.
we are almost at the end of the
Uh,
session, but I wanted to share a question that we have here for Gianluca. A
Mm-hmm.
question from Gazanyaret, who's
Yes.
asking, in your
uh-huh.
opinion, Gianluca, why is the focus in published articles on cyclic fatigue studies instead of incidence of instrument fracture under preclinical usage, ex vivo or in vivo, considering that most of the cyclic fatigue studies are irrelevant clinically?
Oh well, first of all, say hi to Gassan, which is a good friend and is also a very good expert about this. The reason about cyclic fatigue is that when night eye was invented and introduced, there were no dynamic studies for the instruments, and the ISO, that is the organism for standardization of the instrument, they had to find that out a simple way to, compare and test the instrument. So the cyclic fatigue became the most relevant most relevant mechanical studies in the articles and that were published. But I agree with you that this is only a small part of the problem, because if we really consider the clinical situation, I mean, we may say that there are some. It's better to speak about flexural stress. Flexural stress is an interesting component and is a relevant component in the fracture, but it's not the only one. There's a combination of flexural stress and torsional stress and other things. So I totally agree with him, even if this is a question more to be asked more to the people who do the research rather than the one who speak about the clinical. But I'm glad to answer to Gassan. But as you see, this is a very, very interesting point, because at the moment we do not have in terms of manufacturing, we don't have precise regulation about the night rotary files. So since this is lacking, the more the dentists know about the instruments whatsoever, the better is this for them. So they understand something, and then they can, they can make their choices a little bit more rationally.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Gianluca. Monica, do we have still more questions? Actually, we have some greetings from Nicola Grande, also from Gazan. Thank you very much for joining us, and thanks a lot for your nice words. And if we don't have any more questions, so I would like to
thank again, Laura. Just some final words from my side. I would just like to remind the Polish specialists and general dentists that they are all very welcome to the Krakow meeting, and that we have, of course, special rates for them, either members of the Endo Society or members of the Polish Dental Association. We are very looking forward to welcoming them in Krakow. Thank you.
Yes, and we will have some good news in a few days for those who are a little bit sleepy at the moment. But for now, we have to finalize. So thanks a lot, Gianluca, for your time once again. And thank you for giving us a little bit spirit of Rome with all these sounds that we were able to hear. Thank you very much, Monica, for your support as always.
But
and
we say in Italy, this is the beauty of being in a direct situation.
Yes,
like life.
yes, in life. Yes, this is life. So thanks for everyone who joined us. Yes.
Yes. No, I was joking. I wanted to say that if you are a this is also a lesson for the endodontics. If you are a good endodontist, you have to be very calm and don't get nervous when something is getting difficult or wrong in your root canal treatment. So if you keep still and calm like this, you will do better. If you get nervous like this, you can very easily break a file or make any other iatrogenic
any file will break.
Is an example. Yes.
So with this nice tip, we have to end our session. Okay. Thanks for everyone, and see you next time. Thanks a lot.
See you soon.
Okay. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye. Hi to everyone.